This is the 40 Days for Life podcast with your host, Sean Carney.
Hello, and thank you for joining us today on the 40 Days for Life podcast. I'm Sean Carney, the president of 40 Days for Life, and your host for this podcast, which is dedicated to helping you end abortion where you live. Surrogacy! The topic that won't leave me and everybody else alone. It has been in the news again over the last few weeks in a horrible context. We will get to these examples, and obviously we have another surrogacy podcast that we will put on the
show notes.
Thank you, Heather. Heather is also here. We'll put it on the show notes so that you can listen to it. So this isn't, why is surrogacy bad? It's bad for many different reasons. It's unnatural, blah, blah, blah. We will cover some of that, but go listen to that other podcast. We continue to see how that badness is manifested in our lost culture. And somebody who is lost on this podcast, fortunately for us, is Mr. Steve Carlin, because he is not here. And we once again have a non-sexist version of the 40 Days for Life podcast. I'm kind of getting tired of these, but you ladies have been a lot of fun.
Oh, you're getting tired of us already,
no,
Sean?
I'm not. Y'all are great fun. Y'all are too great fun. In fact, we have to discuss something because you mentioned a term that I'm very interested in from just the food aspect.
Okay.
Because you combine two words that made me hungry. And it was a YouTuber that you follow. And
I don't follow him. I just stumbled upon him.
And the name is the Mexican Redneck.
I think it's the Redneck Mexican.
The Redneck Mexican. Yeah,
Yes.
because of the grammatically that would be
Yes.
correct because he's Mexican. Okay, so the Redneck Mexican.
I mean, and technically he's not
maybe
even Mexican.
his essence is redneck, so he is a Mexican redneck. But it's Redneck Mexican, which makes me want. You know how this is a trend I support, and this is probably the definition of Tex-Mex. So you go to like
Fusion. You're thinking fusions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where you load up on the fajitas, right? Mm-hmm. And then they have the option of like the pork ribs or the quail or the jalapeno sausage, like to tack on. That to me is just
That's
living.
just daily life in my house.
It's just beautiful.
Yes, Texican.
And that's Mexican redneck. You know what we could have with this Mexican food? Some jalapeno sausage.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's totally great. So you don't follow this person on YouTube, but you know about him.
Yeah, I stumbled upon him. I think my cousin shared something, and it was hilarious. He was out. It was something about he was taking a hike without a shirt on, and I'm not sure where he lives, maybe West Texas. So he's hiking on the Texas side
Okay.
of the border, right?
Of the border.
And he's like, you can't hike when you look like me without a shirt on because it looks like I just crossed the border. And so then he was saying,
What does that mean? Is he, what's the tattoo situation?
I don't remember. He may have had some
Is he
tattoos.
referencing?
I didn't
He's
see
very
any
brown.
tattoos. Yeah,
Very brown.
He's very brown.
Very brown.
So he thinks I just look like I should
I just
be
look like,
here legally.
and he's hot. He's got his shirt off. All he has is some shorts on.
And he's sweating.
And he's got a cap on and he's sweating. He looks like he's been.
Is he like ripped or is he like dad bod?
He's dad bod.
Oh,
he's
even
dad
better.
bod.
Great.
Yeah, for sure.
Wonderful.
And he said, yeah, the Border Patrol asked me for my papeles, and I don't even know what papeles is because I don't even speak Spanish. And then he goes, I had to take off my hat and shake my mullet so I could show them that I was one of them.
It sounds like the redneck.
And he had the most country accent.
Yes.
The redneck maybe 71%. It's definitely the majority over the Mexican.
Yes.
Oh,
yes,
that's great.
Yes, 100%.
I love it.
And so I always make the joke and it was great stumbling upon him because we always call my mother a redneck Mexican, which I mean, in all reality, it's kind of silly anyway to refer to ourselves as Mexicans because we're Americans. We're 4 generations deep. You know what I mean? But it's kind of like what the question we always get is, where are your ancestors from?
Yeah.
Like, are you Mexican descent? Or I'm
Right.
like, well, do you want to hear all of it? I mean,
But you're
majority.
you are old school Texan.
Old school Texican.
Because
Yes.
of your Mexican ancestors.
Yeah.
God
So
bless
my
them.
husband's always like, I'm a Texican. I don't know what anyone else says. Like, Texas is number one, and then everything else.
I
follows.
think I would like to be a redneck Mexican.
Yeah.
I think that would be a lot of fun.
Well, meet my mother. She's definitely a a redneck.
How old's your
Also,
mom?
she's turning into a Cajun lately too.
Oh, God.
Like we're trying to
That's-
figure out where she's adopted all these weird
That's
accents.
really where the psychosis goes off the rails. Now you're talking about the bayou.
She just turned 73.
Okay, so
Yeah,
she's young.
She's
real
fairly
young. Okay.
Yes, and she's hilarious. She is a lot of fun, and she's definitely the most redneck Mexican I've met in my life.
I'm gonna check out this
Redneck Mexican.
Redneck Mexican. I
Yeah.
encourage.
I don't know if he's like on TikTok or YouTube,
And we
or where you
don't
can find
take
him.
credit. We waive all liability
Exactly.
of anything inappropriate.
Yeah, I only saw this one little short video clip, and it was enough to make me laugh out loud. And
Yeah, I've got to go, especially if he's walking along the border with his shirt.
I don't know where he looked like it. Like maybe he was on the border somewhere, like West Texas. But in the comments, the section in the comments was pretty hilarious because people were like, "I've never met a Mexican or a Hispanic that had that thick of a Southern accent." And people were like, "Have you ever been to Texas?
Yeah,
Have you ever been to Texas? Like, we're
No,
everywhere."
But that's true. But there's Southerners, so they have redneck accents.
Yeah.
And
My sister's is pretty thick.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I would say so. There's some things, it comes out in me sometimes.
oh yeah,
It'll-
no,
you can
no,
hear
no,
it.
you can't hide.
No, I
You-
can't.
Yeah, yeah.
I've when I was speaking in Ohio, one of the sisters was like, "You're from Texas, aren't you?" I said, "Yeah." How'd you guess? Well, there were some things.
There
in
were
there
some things.
that you said, and
You
I think
like
one of-
talking, and you're like,
I think I said fixin'
all of a sudden,
to. I'm fixin' to.
Yeah, that's
Yes.
very Southern.
Yes, fixin' to.
yeah, yeah.
You just you
And you
just
don't
have
even
the
notice it.
accent. You
And
throw
you
out
can
Spanish
Spanglish.
words. Yeah,
Yes.
Spanglish. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's great. I love it.
Linda, Linda, listen, look it, Linda.
Look at yes. Listen to me. Yeah.
I just love the combination of redneck and Mexican. It just makes me
It's
happy.
the best of both worlds.
It is the best of both worlds. It explains, like, I don't know, half the population of Texas. You know,
Basically.
pretty much.
Yeah.
Pretty much it.
About 48%, I think. Something
Yeah,
like that.
yeah. Do you have anything to add to this, Heather?
I don't have any Mexican redneck.
You're definitely not
stories.
a redneck Mexican. You're a redneck white girl from Spring.
I've been told I'm Mexican at heart sometimes.
I was told that too by our friends who are Mexicans. I don't know if they were just trying to be nice or because I actually loved their homemade salsa and it was super spicy. So they're like, "Oh, you're not a gringo." So they said, I wasn't a
Not a
gringo.
gringo.
Yeah, gringos. I guess they're a bunch of
Salsa
wusses.
caliente.
Yes, muy caliente. That means very hot, Ramona. In Spanish.
In case you were wondering.
I was wondering. I was lost.
I can translate these things. For you.
She doesn't even know what papeles are.
Or papeles.
She
I
doesn't know
don't
what
know what
caliente is.
And for the listener who's wondering what papeles are, they were asking him where his papers were.
Right.
Like, where's your
Documentation.
documentation? And he's like, "I just shook my mullet and was like, I'm one of you guys." Yeah.
That's gold.
It was hilarious.
That's fantastic. Okay. We got to check this guy out. We got to get this guy on the podcast. I don't know what the topic would be.
Oh my gosh.
Okay. All right. Surrogacy at heart. Here we go. So there's been a couple of, we're going to go to Canada. We're going to go to this California girl who fled to Texas and then Connecticut. So these are specific examples. The 30-second version of surrogacy is what a disaster we've created by ignoring natural law and also creating this entitlement to children. And people are like, "You have 8 kids." And I know, and I'm very blessed, but that doesn't mean that if you don't have kids, you can go and
Manufacture
create them and manufacture them and pay a woman to carry them so she can deliver it and then just hand the baby over to you like you ordered a pizza. This is probably, I think it used to be really good intentions, honestly. Like, oh, but it creates life, and this is life without God with good intentions, which is really scary. Now it's a mess.
I used to entertain the thought when I was younger, before I had my conversion.
Yep.
I entertained the thought of surrogacy, and I thought, "Oh my gosh, this is so tragic. I would be happy to have a baby for someone."
Yes.
And of course, after the conversion, you start looking back and going, "Yeah, this is not a good idea."
And honestly, that makes sense. But also, I think people have it explained to them from a secular standpoint.
Exactly.
Of just, this isn't natural. And emotionally, the emotional and psychological ramifications of the birth, the surrogate mom who's carrying the baby, She's going to deliver this child, bond with the child, obviously. You're not just sitting there like cooking dinner, like totally distant, and then hand the baby over. Or, as we will get into, maybe the baby isn't what the couple wanted, and now we have to get rid of the baby. And guess who's going to go through the abortion? The surrogate mom. But I will say this is a whole new level with letting the homosexuals adopt kids. It was a horrible idea. Everybody got bullied into it because it's like, you're bigots because you don't let us adopt. They have to adopt because they can't have kids.
Exactly.
The reason they can't have kids is because they're having sex with each other, and that doesn't produce a baby. And there has to be a natural consequence for that. When you feel entitled, the reason it's one of the many reasons it's bad is because you immediately deny the child either a mother or a father when you give him or her to a same-sex couple. And
which is different than the single mother that has to face.
for sure,
It's not
and
the same
that's
thing.
the argument they use,
Exactly.
which is so insulting to single moms. It's like, I'm their mom. We didn't have a daddy. He does have a daddy. He's just either not in the picture for good reason or not in the picture completely or whatever.
Right.
And it's also none of your damn business. But the whole like, no. We just want to have a kid live with us and want to raise them as two daddies is la la land. And this is how we got into this mess is surrogacy, thinking that, well, this gives us the option to do it. And it's not homophobic. It's not anti-gay. It's that every child deserves a mom and a dad. And by the way, all the gays had that. So this is really...
And then you dive into the commodifying of human beings, what happens now when we've contractualized, it's become a contract to contractualize. Is that even a word? Anyway, when you turn it into a contract.
Yeah,
the womb-
contractual, yes, agreement that, so it's a mess, and this is how it manifests itself. And at the same time, of course, we're saying that the baby who's alive should be protected and given dignity. The path was wrong, and that's on us.
And the slippery slope.
So, okay, let's first go to Canada. So the baby had...
It's always Canada.
Everything loony.
Blame
We always start off with
Canada.
Canada.
And
We love you. We love you.
we love the pro-life. Here's the great thing about Canadians before we shred their entire existence is that they have a great cynical sense of humor. I love speaking in Canada. I've spoken at their March for Life. I've spoken at their national dinner. It's awesome. It's great. They have a great sense of humor. You can make jokes. It's all funny. It's all fun. My diagnosis of Canada is they have no identity. They're just sort of not America, not the United States, I mean, not Europe. And that's the West. They're not Latin America.
Right.
They're the furthest from that culture. But Europe, you go around and even their secular countries and they're crazy and they're socialists, you still find all these roots that you think, man, maybe they'll get back to that. I don't know what the Canadian roots are. Killing Jesuits who were trying to convert you, that was mainly the Indians, but we can't talk about the Indians anymore. But it was really rough, the evangelization of Canada. And they've, been primarily a secular country for a long time. And they just don't have those deep European ties, and they don't have the sort of independent, pull yourself up by your bootstraps ties that the United States has. So it's a very odd place, and you add the lack of American football and excessive drinking, and it can really, spiral out of control. Hockey is cool. We don't get into it, but it's an awesome sport, and I have a lot of respect for it, so I'm not going to touch it. But they
only have one major league baseball team.
They used to have the Expos. Montreal Expos left smartly, and then they have the Toronto Blue Jays. And they're kind of it. So, and I never root for them because I want American teams to win because I don't like Canada.
I want Springer back on the Astros.
I do too, and that may
stayed
happen.
there.
Springer. It may have happened by the time we release this, but who really wants Springer back on the Astros is Springer because he lives in Toronto. Okay. All right. So let's do this. Okay. The quote is, "I just feel used. They didn't get the perfect child they wanted, and they threw me away." This is the surrogate mom.
This is the surrogate mom. So I have to point out, Sean, you did an interview a few weeks ago on Fox News Nation, something like that.
Something like that.
About this particular,
Yes.
the situation is it's a same-sex couple in Canada. The claim is that their child that they had manufactured and put into a surrogate mother was diagnosed with a cleft palate as well as other issues. And so
But
they
the
decided,
cleft palate, it was listed as the most serious.
yes. And so they decided they wanted her to abort. And then the claim is they're suing her for not aborting.
So the surrogate mom didn't abort.
She did not abort.
Right. I'm saying that
Yeah,
just for
yeah.
clarity. And by the way, this is the big revelation. Today, the kid is 2.
They're 2 years old, yes.
And they're suing the surrogate mom for having their baby, who they kept for 2 years. And maybe he's a punk, or he didn't eat all of his Cheetos, or he doesn't like the Maple Leaves, or whatever their teams are. And they're like, forget you. We can't kill you now. Boy, we wish we could. But we can sue the surrogate mom. And that's what they're doing. This is the first story like this I've ever heard, where the kid's 2.
Wow.
This is not the first story like this I've heard. I've seen that where a child with Down syndrome was sitting in the courtroom while the parents
have
were
mercy.
trying to sue the hospital for not diagnosing the child properly. So
Okay.
Yeah.
You win, sadly. Gosh.
it's unfortunately more
awful.
common than we think, which is why several years ago, states like Texas tried to pass and thankfully did pass laws to prevent that from happening. But
And this is a same-sex couple. I know this sounds like we're just totally, but
well,
we
that's
have to
another
address
added
this.
dimension on
It's an
it,
added dimension,
so-
but this whole commodity thing,
Yes.
and it's absolutely out of control. And we need to find. I'm sure they're out there. I know I've heard at least one person, but somebody from the homosexual community going, we don't need to be growing babies in Ukrainian women and paying them to keep them or abort them. Like,
Yeah.
it's a bad look at best. It's totally unnatural. And if you want a kid, marry a woman.
yeah.
If you're a lesbian, marry a dude. I mean, this is the way it works. We can't change it. And you get in these scenarios where you order the baby. It's great. You talk about it on TikTok. Then you get, the cleft palate. And apparently that's just unbearable in their home. How are they not the most selfish, horrible people on earth?
If you dive a little deeper into the prior to the lawsuit, because the lawsuit lists a lot of things, it actually doesn't list specifically this, from what I can tell. Now, I'm not an attorney, disclaimer, and I did not review this entirely with an attorney's lens, but upon digging as much as I could into this without being an attorney, as far as I can tell, the lawsuit did not list these things, but it listed lots of issues that they had with the surrogate mother. So one thing that they listed, though, was that there was also a potential heart failure issue that turned out to not be a big issue. The cleft palate's treatable. The other issues were treatable. Things could have been fine, for the child. But they claimed in the lawsuit they are suing allegedly for $600,000 because the surrogate mother failed to keep them abreast of the fetus's health, put the baby's health at risk by negligent behavior. So the negligent behavior, when you dig into that, is number one, she wouldn't abort the baby. And number two,
How negligent of her.
And number two, as per the contract they originally had, they agreed that she would have a home birth. So that was part of the original contract. She wanted to stick with the contract after them going through the whole, we don't want a baby with a cleft palate, and then, okay, we'll let you continue the pregnancy. Maybe the cleft palate isn't as big of a deal as we thought. After that, they wanted the baby to be born in a hospital. And so that was negligent behavior because she wanted to still give birth to the baby at home. She wanted to stick with the original birth plan. So she failed to do that.
Let's pause right there because that's a really good point. The rewording of that is we wanted her to have an abortion.
Mm-hmm.
She didn't want that. And she got what she wanted, and now we're suing her for negligence. So denying forced abortion is negligence. That's their claim. That we were trying to force you, you didn't want it, you should have had it anyways, you're negligent.
Mm-hmm.
And these are people that don't love this kid. Mm-hmm. This kid is just a total asset that did not work out.
Yep.
It's you spilled paint on your purse and you got to get rid of it. It's just like, we're tired of you. You imagine, there's just nothing. I mean, when your baby's born or whatever, you adopt a baby and they put the baby in your arms, you will do anything for that child. Mm-hmm. This is the total difference between, an adult and a child is like you just look at someone else as more important than yourself in general. And for a lot of people, it's your spouse, but I mean, it's a whole new level when it's a baby. This is nowhere on these people's radar. They're just listing everything wrong with this 2-year-old and why they deserve $600,000, which I don't know where in the world they got that figure. I don't know why it's not 500. I don't know why it's not 5 million.
Did they say, is one of these men the biological father, or
so this is another side note that I researched and could not figure this out. There was a claim in several news outlets about this that both fathers' sperm was used with a donor egg to create this child. Now, physically, I don't understand how that's possible. I heard of that happening one time before
I don't want to know.
in Asia. But I heard
I feel like we should just watch Land Before Time after recording this. I need something wholesome. Good.
But do you recall, like, I don't know, 5 years ago, maybe, COVID runs together, maybe it was 8 years ago, somewhere in the last 10 years, there was this big story that was like, hey, for the first time, we were able to create a child with 3 adults.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay. So I
couldn't
couldn't.
That was biologically possible.
I didn't think it was either. And then when I went and searched, I kept finding all these scientific websites and biological sites that said, no, it's physically not possible to do that. So I'm confused as to how they were able to do that. I think maybe they, if we got to get into details, maybe they mix them up and one father's DNA is there, one wins, but they don't know which one until they see the features later. Maybe.
Now they're saying that's not how it works, that the egg actually chooses the sperm now.
Sure.
So
is that a feminist flex?
No. This is a new discovery. That we used to think that it was the first sperm, but now
the egg interviews all the sperm.
The egg's like, move out of the way. I want that one.
That's right.
So
Billy's got a mustache.
So
we're doing this. We're doing it. We're already in the land of the absurd. Gosh.
This is funny. You could make a funny animation.
Anyways. Hey, and this is on the list, and I know producer John is thinking this. If we don't insert some humor here, people are gonna drive off the road because this is so infuriating. Because it's the absolute denial of love towards a child. Mm-hmm. It's why everybody gets so mad when you hear of a little kid getting beaten by his dad or his uncle or any kind of child abuse drives us crazy. This is child abuse by the parents to the child over money. Mm-hmm. Why? Because we don't like the way you look.
Yeah, no. And to go even a step further, of course, it gets into how children are created in the first place. And I just think about, my own children and how they each love to hear the stories about how they were born. Like not how they were created. They know they have mom and dad for that. But they love to hear their birth
Daddy
stories.
was feeling particularly good one night.
I feel like I need Steve here.
He had one too many scotches.
You're implying that he needs alcohol.
No. Maybe with one of them, not the rest of them.
The rest, yeah.
No.
I feel like I'm losing control here.
Yes, you are.
I can't be the one that brings us back on track. I just want to remind you, ladies, y'all are going in a different territory. Gosh.
But I'm thinking about how they love hearing their birth stories and how they were born, and it's so heartbreaking to me to think about children that are conceived via IVF, through surrogacy, and all these things. And I would imagine that on some level, there is this gratitude. They're alive. They have maybe oftentimes great lives, right?
Yes.
Great families, but I can't imagine even thinking about myself, not knowing, right? This is my mom, this is my dad. These two people loved each other and they procreated, and here I am, right? And so then you get into all of this of the results of the surrogacy and the IVF and all of that about, this disconnect when these children were, how they were conceived, how they came to be, and that void that they must feel in their lives because they don't have what we all say is, yes, people say, oh, well, this is because it's a social norm, a social construct, right? But no, this is nature. Like, this is the way God designed it to be, right?
And the only reason they can get away with this is because it's unnatural, because the couple surrogacy is obviously always unnatural. But I think it's because of the gay couple. Because if you got married to a woman and she gets pregnant, you're like, woo, we're having a baby. And she goes to all her doctor's appointments. How's it going? Good, good, good. How's it going? Good, good, good. And then you go and you have the baby and they have Downs or they have a cleft palate. Could the husband then 3 years later, 2 years later, say, I really wanted my kid to look like a young Paul Newman. This kid's like a mutant. You didn't tell me about this in all your doctor's appointments. I'm divorcing you and I'm suing you. We wouldn't allow that to happen because they're married and it's their baby.
Yeah, what
The
public
court
support would he get?
The court says, now maybe in 20 years you'll be able to do this, but the court says, the judge would say, you're crazy.
Yeah, get out of here.
Get out of here, and he would dismiss it in 2 seconds. The gay factor is what makes this possible because it's not their kid. Yep. And they're like, hey, man, we paid for a fur coat. It's not real fur. Kid's got a cleft palate. It's weird, and we don't want weird. And so that is... Oh, it just begs the tolerance question, too. I mean, there's so much here, but we're going to follow this. I mean, 40 Days for Life has had our legal issues in Canada, and we have won every time. Fortunately, we have met some great judges up there. It's been like the UK. Like, the people are all nuts, and the government's nuts, but the judges are still kind of sane. Is the opposite of America.
Interesting.
Americans are pretty level-headed, but we have some nutcase judges. The UK and Canada are a little different, where the people are insane, but the judges still somehow can think clearly. So let's pray to God that this, gets in front of a normal person that's like, I'm dismissing this, and I'm also suggesting y'all all get locked up in some kind of camp and get treatment.
Well, and
There's croissants in the back.
reading this too, I'm just like, in what world would you, dismiss, put aside the fact that there's a gay couple with a surrogate and they're having a baby. In what world would you ever have even thought that this was okay to sue her for this? Like,
but the whole thing.
But it's a contractual
that's what I'm
relationship.
saying. That's
the only
just,
way to.
It's insane to me.
For the human condition explanation, it's that these people at their core are extremely selfish. Mm-hmm. They are serving themselves through their own desire to get married. They're serving themselves through their willingness to pay somebody else to, grow a baby so that they can take the baby over. There's no consideration for the surrogate mom, who's definitely a victim, even though she's getting paid. Definitely the child. They don't care. Mm-mm. And they're not going to start caring. Now that he's 2, he's kind of cute. I don't know. That friggin' cleft palate. It just looks terrible.
So
it didn't stop Joaquin Phoenix.
No.
Oh
this
my
is
gosh,
the other
yes.
thing. Yeah, it's just the other. Yeah, there's. Go ahead.
You probably didn't see this, but you got some criticism on some of our pages with your interview because you were using anti-abortion propaganda to single out the cleft palate and then automatically say that this couple is suing for the cleft palate, when in fact it is nowhere named in the lawsuit and there's all these other things. So I decided, let's see if this person, one of the claims that I saw, let's just see how far this goes, because 40 Days for Life, we do not want to misrepresent, obviously, a story if the facts aren't the facts.
Well, and everything I say is factual.
And of course, but...
including that these people are losers.
One thing that I
fact check that.
found out was part of this lawsuit includes, among the other obvious things where we can read between the lines with you put the baby's health at risk, you had negligent behavior, you didn't update us about the fetus's medical care. She violated their confidentiality and caused serious emotional distress. Upon further research, that serious emotional distress references July 2024 all the way till September 2025, when the woman said she was not having an abortion. So July was when she said she wasn't having the abortion. That caused emotional distress of one of the parents, and they were unable to work. So you can look at that and still say, no, they're not suing for cleft palate. That's one of the reasons very clearly here.
The other thing, thank you for defending me. The other thing is, in the courtroom, the judge or the other lawyer is going to say, with little Billy, we don't know, it's a son. I know that. I don't know his name. Thank God they left that out.
Yeah,
they can't humanize him. They want him dead.
Yeah.
But he's going to be in the courtroom. Would your life be better if she would have followed your desire and aborted Billy? Yes, that's what we're here for, Your Honor. And that is why they should have never been given a kid. They don't love a kid. You can't use bad parents as an excuse to grow a kid and give it to a same-sex couple. Nobody wants to say that, but that's the reality. Whoa, Ike Turner beat Tina.
Yep.
That's fine. It's not fine, but that's terrible. But that doesn't mean that we can have gay marriage. That doesn't mean that we can, grow babies and just hand them to same-sex couples and deny them a mother or a father. And everybody just thinks this is fine. Not everybody, but cases like this show kind of highlight surrogacy, because I think a lot of people are like, okay, from a secular standpoint, the woman in the Ukraine needs the money.
Yes.
The couple gets the baby. We need more children. We're underpopulated.
She provides a service
Elon Musk
for
can
them.
only sleep with so many women at
Oh
once.
my gosh, yes.
And so, it's like, well, we need babies.
Yeah.
Let's do in vitro. Let's do surrogacy. Why not? And you see, I think that there is the 30-second explanation, which is this is just completely unnatural and it's not a victimless crime. But there's also how does this play out?
And they're not being selfish for wanting to get married. They're being selfish for wanting to redefine marriage and make it what they want it to be. And sorry, you know me and my language. I gotta my
You're
specific.
The victim.
Gotta clarify here.
It's just like abortion, that nobody wants to talk about the ultimate victim.
Right.
It's these kids.
Right. That's the sad thing.
I'm just saying, and
this situation is making national and international headlines. And what is this kid how is they gonna view this?
But everybody grows up into some level, whether it's just you growing up in your house or whatever. Your parents kind of disappoint you somehow, or you're like, I don't know, dad's a jerk or mom's a jerk or whatever. There's moments, right, where your parent, and then there's the whole, which is so funny about the progressive commercials, like, I'm turning into my dad, where you're like, I just said that.
She has blue hair.
I told the kids how pretty the moon was. Like, I'm turning into an old man. But there's all this stuff that happens, and at some level, everybody has that.
Sure.
That's different than finding out your parents paid some random girl who you'll never find to grow you. You grew in her. She fed you.
Wow, that's so brave of them.
Then they transferred you back, and you were raised by Billy and Sarah or Billy and Tommy or whatever. And that, I think the snowflake babies have a tough go at this. We know, which you've got to whisper about, some of these people that have grown up and had two daddies or two mommies are saying this isn't the best thing in the world. Of course, they have to wear bulletproof vests. But we're starting to get some of this data, and this messes you up of where you came from, what your identity is. Who are you supposed to look for? All of my friends that were adopted, they have some desire at some point, and they track down their birth mom. And it's really 10 out of 10 for all my friends. It's been a positive thing and neat, and they're old now and have kids, and they just want to know. What are you going to do? Walk around the Ukraine? Hey, in 2017, did you take money from my gay parents. There's no way to actually track these people down. And we don't think about this for the kids of their own identity, not their worth or their value. We protect them. We made that clear. But just their identity of who am I and where did I come from? Well, once we gave them the account number and the routing number and we wired the money and then you showed up 9 months later.
Yep.
It's a very, obviously it's unnatural, but it's also just weird. And it's just absolute brave new world. And we get into these scenarios. Okay. Let's talk about the California mom who fled to Texas.
Well, she's an Alaskan mom. She's a surrogate who lives in Alaska, and the parents, the biological parents, live in California. So she fled to Texas. This is a very hot story recently in the end of the summer. Baby Gabriel was conceived through surrogacy and diagnosed with hypoplastic left heart syndrome. The biological parents tried to force the surrogate mother to abort, and the surrogate mother agreed to do so in the contract should such issues arise, which is not uncommon in surrogacy contracts. Again, kind of just putting forth we want the specific manufactured type of baby that we want. The court order that Texas brought, basically the Alaskan mom decided she did not want to be forced to have the abortion. She wanted the baby to be able to have the surgery once the baby was born. The parents said, no, we want you to come to California, give birth to the baby since you're not going to have an abortion, and we're going to deny that surgery for the baby. So she said, no, I'm going to Texas for safety. And the Texas Attorney General stepped in. So the court order stops anyone from refusing any necessary treatment and from removing the child from Texas while the court considers the case. And surprise, very recently, the baby was born. Baby Gabriel was born in Texas. So
shout out to Ken Paxton, too, our Attorney General, who's running for Senate. But he's... Of course, he's been proven to be super pro-life and consistent. But I thought he would do this, but you know how apparently politicians sometimes get in the middle of an election and don't go back to their roots. And he didn't do that.
Yeah.
He didn't do that because we're 2 months from the election, and he was like, no, I'm doing this. And it was a hot topic.
Yeah. And so as of the recording of this, the baby is still awaiting the surgery. This is a serious but very treatable situation with the heart condition.
And Gabriel is the name.
And the surrogate mom named him Baby Gabriel. It's
going to be interesting to see if these California people are like, just keep it. Or can we pay you to adopt the kid? We don't even want it. Because it's a little bit like you see the shiny thing or, oh, look, squirrel. I mean, they're like, let's have a baby. Cool, you do it. And then it just doesn't work out. And you're like, actually, we're not even going to go on that vacation. We just had a kick about going to the beach, but we're over it.
Yeah.
And that's what it seems to feel like.
I'd also be interested in looking at any stats or information that exists of how many surrogates have been pressured to abort and who refuse an abortion. Do we have those numbers?
Yes. Going back 10 years, it started. There was a case, and I.
Well, let me give you context of why I ask first before you go into that. The reason I ask is because if the number's high of how many surrogates refuse, you would think that that's just obvious that they're going to refuse an abortion because. Though misguided.
Obvious when you're making the contract.
Exactly, because think about the woman you're choosing to carry this baby. Remember I had said before that I had entertained that thought, and thought, oh, well, this is to be able to give this blessing to someone else. Yeah. And I would think that instinctively somewhere in there, you're pro-life, whether you realize it or not, right? Because you're all for giving life or making sure that, other people have this blessing and joy of having a children.
Well, and you certainly don't want an abortion.
No, and so that's why I'm curious to see, how many of these surrogate mothers already have it in their head before they ever even sign a contract or agree, I would never do this. Or I'd be curious to know, too, how many of them thought that they would initially, like this mom who said it was in the contract that she would have the abortion and then, opted not and said, no, I'm not going to do it. Like, obviously, there was a change, there was a shift, something happened, right? I don't know if did it say whether she'd had children before? Is this her?
Yes, this particular case, she has children.
Okay.
And she's a single mom. And so that's another issue is like a lot of these surrogate, not all of them, but a lot of surrogate mothers, whether they're national or international, they are low income. They're desperate for money. They need the money. And so there's another story we'll talk about later where that's the case as well. But you think like they're desperate for the money. They see they're going to get, maybe $3,000 a month, while they're continuing this pregnancy.
Or even more if you're having Kardashian babies.
It depends, right? You're going to get maybe an average of $60,000 to $80,000 total for this, for using your body essentially to gestate this child for a couple who, wants a baby. And I could see why that would be, dollar signs in the eyes, not thinking realistically about, wait a minute, what if something actually does go wrong and they do want an abortion? And so they may just be signing it not knowing what they're signing, or they're signing it thinking, well, that's not going to happen.
Assuming that everything's going to go
Everything's going to be fine.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's in the money. You're a surrogate, you get that money. If you're in one of these European socialist countries, you get leave.
Yeah.
It's a mess. The horrible, depressing story, I think I almost put it in the beginning and the end of abortion, or what to say when. I don't remember. I passed on it twice. Number one, it was just too complicated for the point that I was trying to make. But nevertheless, I have all these pages that I researched and printed out. It was a story of it's a surrogate, baby has Downs, couple says, here's $5,000, have the abortion, sorry. Mom says no. Okay, here's $10,000. Mom says no, goes to a judge. The judge says, you don't have a right to tell the surrogate to abort.
Okay.
Like, sides with the surrogate.
Okay.
Surrogate, hurrah, victory, leaves. They said, all right, what about $25,000? She took the money and had the abortion.
Yeah.
And it's just this horrible story. But it's inevitable, and it's inevitable that it will go the other direction. It probably has. I've heard of it, but I can't document it. But you're a couple and you pay the mom, and she's tired of morning sickness. So she goes in and has an abortion.
Yeah.
And says, deal's off, here's your money back.
My body, my choice.
My body, my choice. What are you going to do? So the parents are at risk. The whole thing, we just have never sat for 5 minutes and thought about this. We've just done what you said, which is it's life, I can bless another family, all this. I'd love to be pregnant, but I don't want to raise a kid. I mean, everybody kind of wins.
We're seeing the fairy tale version of these.
The fairy tale version.
You're a hero.
All the while, by the way, this is where the aliens don't understand us at all. All the while, cursing marriage, getting married young, having kids young, having a lot of kids, doing like the natural path of life is the freakiest thing in the world.
You're such a freak.
Yeah. But if I go out and I don't think in practice, I think if you're just on the subway or on a bus next to somebody and you're like, yeah, we got a surrogate out in the Ukraine and we're waiting on the baby, should be here by Halloween. I think most people are like, oh, I do think that there's that factor still. It's more popular like in the media, like, oh, this is a good thing. But in day-to-day interactions, it's weird.
Kind of like mail order brides. Like, oh.
What's a mail order bride? Where you just...
Really? How do I gotta explain what a mail order bride
like
is?
an arranged marriage? Like in the 14th century?
You've never heard of mail order brides? Like where someone is basically
you're shopping for a wife.
Shopping for a wife, and now they could do
like
it
at
online.
a bar or like online?
No,
You could do it online.
Not like I'm shopping for a wife, like you're going to church.
No, not like that.
You're online and you order your wife.
You could be part of an organization, just like a surrogacy.
It's like a trafficking
website.
too.
Just like
It's a
That
a
there
bad
is-
thing.
it can be,
but
yes.
there is both.
Yeah.
There's legitimate
there's
mail
like
orders, and then
there's the
like,
Marriott, there's the Wizard, and then there's the Willard.
Yes.
Okay. Where you don't know what you're getting. Okay.
I know someone who got a mail order bride. It's awkward, but yeah,
Are they married?
they're married.
Is she nice?
She's nice.
I don't know. We have a 56% divorce rate. You're acting like this is the worst idea in the world. We're online
All
doing
I
dumb
said-
stuff all day. We might as well look around and be like, hey,
All
he's
I
pretty
said
good looking.
was, this is an analogy. That's all I said. I didn't say it was good or bad.
They're picking each other, though.
Yeah.
I think mail order sounds really judgmental. It needs to be.
I didn't call it
It
that.
sounds like a date. It's just a
I mean, I
dating-
didn't name that.
But all it is a dating website.
Yeah, it's a little different, but yeah.
I don't know what I'm talking
Essentially,
about,
how
so I
is
don't
that-
want to offend the listeners because they may
This
be
is
like
definitely getting out. Maybe we'll have another podcast about this.
on mail order.
Are mail order brides the same as dating?
Are
apps?
there mail
modern
order
dating apps?
Can you do a mail order husband?
I have never heard of that, but maybe you
See,
could.
because this is women empowerment. You
that's-
could tell Eugene, you don't pick up your crap, I will get online and
I'll find
replace
a new
you.
one.
It's like trading a wide receiver.
Like shopping for a car.
I will
like, what does it have?
I will
Leather
cut
seats?
you.
Check.
I'll have you replaced. These
Heated
Russian
seats?
men are
Check.
gorgeous. Yeah.
I don't think you had to say Russian men.
I'm trying to think of other countries.
He's thinking outside of the box.
I'm thinking outside of the box. She's like,
These New
I
Zealand
want a
guys.
Russian redneck. Yeah, I want a New Zealand redneck.
Oh my gosh.
Oh,
I-
sorry for the rabbit trail.
It's a big one. I love this quote. I think it's well said. Some kind of ties a knot on this this particular story. This is from Amy O'Donnell, who is the director of Texas Alliance for
Yes,
Life.
she's wonderful.
No contract should strip the dignity of a mother by pressuring her to end the life of the child she is carrying, nor deny an unborn child the right to life simply because they are unwanted or perceived as less than perfect. And that is the thing. I actually looked up. I could not find any specific cases. It would take a little bit more time and research, but apparently I don't see that there are any states that acknowledge that a surrogacy contract overrides state law. So even for this case and for some of the other ones, even in the situation where a surrogate is being pressured, even by the contract, to abort, if she decides she doesn't want to, there's no states that will force her to, as far as I can tell. If I'm wrong, people can comment in the comments or email us, but I haven't been able to find a case. But even if there are cases, it's very rare. So it's very much still a my body, my choice thing. But that was something in conversation recently that got brought up, what you said, Sean, which is the reverse. What if it's her body? What does that apply both ways? What if she doesn't want the baby anymore and she gets an abortion? Can she be sued, thrown in jail, whatever, right?
Right.
Like that's an important question. So some of the listeners or folks hearing about this may be wondering, like, what is going on? This is some crazy new phenomenon, and it's not. There was a really interesting story that was from 2013 in Connecticut. And again, sadly, these are much more common than you realize. In fact, I'm going to jump here and just read some statistics so you see.
Yeah.
The latest is that the surrogacy industry is a $28.9 billion industry across the world. 28.9
I wouldn't have guessed that.
billion. 4.7% of all surrogacy is 4.7% of all what are called assisted reproductive technology procedures. $140,000 to $180,000 is the $1,000 is the average cost in the United States to the parents who want to pay a surrogate, and typically compensation will be $60,000 to $80,000 for the surrogate mother in the United States. Most of these statistics are from ACRC Global, which stands for Angels Creation Reproductive Center.
Oh, yeah. They got to use that. You got to use the word angels.
Yep. So very, very sad state of affairs that we're in right now in this world. But let's dig in quickly to this.
I want to get it. Yeah. Well, let's
situation.
we will end with this.
Well,
It's a positive note.
Yeah. Maybe we'll find a way to end this positively.
This is Connecticut, 2013. All right. Congratulations. You made it halfway through. So this was one of the last friendly emails between Kelly and the woman who'd hired her. A few days later, Kelly, 5 months pregnant, had a routine ultrasound to make sure the baby was developing properly. The ultrasound technician struggled to see the baby's tiny heart. There's something wrong with the baby, she said. What are we going to do? The ultrasound showed the baby had a cleft lip and palate, a cyst in her brain, and serious heart defects. They couldn't see a stomach or a spleen.
So multiple problems with this baby right off the bat. The surrogate mother was very adamant about publicizing this because of the scrutiny and pressure that she had gone through with the parents. And it is amazing how quickly this, sadly, without opening up another can of worms, this happens sometimes in adoption too. But it is amazing how these parents can so quickly turn on the mother when things don't go right with the baby. So the parents then told, and this was a heterosexual married couple, they said that they didn't want to bring a baby into the world only for that child to suffer. They said that I should try to be godlike and have mercy on the child and let her go. So I love how IVF is God-given. Being godlike is having the baby dismembered or poisoned and having mercy on the child. All the very twisted things. We're in 1984 here.
Yeah,
all over
when
again.
we kill the suffering, we're just like a friendly God.
Yep.
Yep.
So the surrogate, whose last name is Kelly, she said, I told them that they had chosen me to carry and protect this child, and that is exactly what I was going to do. I told them it wasn't their decision to play God, which God bless this surrogate mother for standing up for the baby. This mother was in a situation where she was a single mother. She had children of her own, and that's why one of the reasons why she was compelled to gift this, a child, to give this gift to these parents. But she felt like because of her financial situation and her situation with her kids, she was not able to adopt this baby herself. So she was in a real conundrum, because what ended up happening was, she said the parents wanted to release the baby to foster care. So basically, since she refused to have an abortion, she delivered the baby, but then they said, well, we have the rights, so we still get the baby after you deliver the baby, and then we're going to give the baby to foster care because we're not dealing with the baby with issues. And so she was naturally just appalled by that and scared. But then it got complicated because the parents, one of them was not the biological parent. They used a donor egg for this. So that complicated it, because in most states, the biological are the legal parents.
Right.
They're automatically well, now she's not the biological parent.
Which goes back to what I
One
said
of
about
them.
the kid's identity.
Yeah.
He's going to have to hire Sherlock Holmes and everybody else to figure out where he came from.
Right. So the surrogate ended up, now this is quite a turn of events, seeing as how Michigan and Massachusetts, well, I guess Michigan has been in the news lately similarly. She fled to Michigan since at the time they didn't recognize surrogacy contracts, and that meant she could legally be the baby's mother. And she eventually found adoptive parents to care for the baby. And this was a positive. The surrogate
found adoptive parents. That's where we ended up.
Yep.
And she went to Michigan, of all places.
She went to Michigan.
Yep.
Now, what's interesting is she had a similar situation as something we read, or something you talked about earlier, the $25,000. She was offered $10,000 to abort. Well, because she was getting so desperate and running out of options and thinking that she just could not care for this baby herself as much as she wanted to protect the baby and make sure the baby had a chance at life, she then, got a lawyer herself, because the parents were using a lawyer and communicating with her that way. So she got an attorney herself. She then said, let's ask them for $15,000. So she actually was wavering on her own convictions, which she said were for religious and moral reasons, and was actually starting to consider if they would have given her $15,000, again, because she's in a desperate financial situation with her own kids. They said no. And so then they used that, quite frankly, rightfully so. It made sense for the parents' attorneys to use that against her, saying, clearly the price would have been enough at some point for you to abort. So you broke the contract, you didn't abort. But she came back later and said, no, they could have given me $100 million and I wouldn't have done it. Like, I was in a moment of weakness, but even if they would have come back and said, yes, I wouldn't have done it. I will never do this. So she ended up, basically going back and forth with them with her attorney, and had that support from her attorney that basically said, no matter what, abortion is out of the picture, and this baby should be able to get the medical care. And so one of the things that she did was she did a lot of research for children's hospitals in Michigan, and that's another reason she went to Michigan was because all of the things, the issues that the baby had, she found were treatable, and she would have a good chance at surviving going to be treated at one of the hospitals in Michigan. So,
Wow,
Yeah.
that's incredible.
so these adoptive parents that she found were we know people like this. They're amazing.
Right.
They'll take anybody, and they'll specifically take children with disabilities, and they will love them as their own. So the adoptive parents were a huge godsend to her. They did end up, everything, went well after that. Were able to adopt, and they knew that this baby may not survive, more than 5 years. They knew that there was going to be challenges, but she ended up having a lot of these challenges and still not dying, right? Like being able to live,
I'm interested in hearing this, which does have a happy ending, actually. Are the original selfish people, are they ever allowed to attempt surrogacy ever again? Because my fear, first off, this chaos is good for shedding a light on surrogacy. My fear is what you said, the $29 billion. How much is it worth? $30 billion
industry, $28.9 billion industry.
What that means is they can buy political power. And that's my biggest fear as far as the future. And I don't know. I have no clue who fights this, who does it. Somebody does, but probably not to the level that we need to be doing it or funding it. But can you ban surrogacy in certain states? Can you have a national ban? Can we look at all this and go, this has a lot of sex trafficking vibes. This has a lot of abuse for the women. Definitely is a disaster for the kids. We love all the gay people, but y'all got to chill out, and you're not getting kids from surrogacy, so leave us alone. And somebody has to take a hard line and make this illegal, because this is chaos.
Yes.
It's absolute
Avoidable chaos.
Avoidable chaos.
And where are the feminists? Right?
They
need to speak up on this too, because I mean, obviously we know they need to speak up too, but it's just funny because I always go back and say, where are the feminists on a lot of issues? But this is another one. How many women find themselves in vulnerable situations, like these single moms who are in financial crisis and who are desperate for money? And I actually know a couple of women who've been surrogates, and I'm just like blown away because they're people I would have never expected, and one more than once,
you
for
think
the
it's
money.
a power trip aside from the money?
From the one I know, it was all about the money.
It was.
Yeah,
Okay.
It was all about the money. And it's like, where are the feminists? Because we are using women, vulnerable women, for hire.
grow. Well, it's a motherhood prostitute.
Exactly.
That's all it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's just and that's why I think the crazy feminists, not the original ones, but the modern feminists, I would think they'd be against this, but there's a chance it's like, yeah, you go, girl. Mm-hmm. You don't need to raise you have the power to grow the baby, and earn your keep and hand it over, and you don't have to deal with because the original feminists, the power trip was not getting pregnant, not being pregnant, not having kids, and I don't know. Hey,
you go, girl. You be that.
There is no go, girl, because you know who runs the left? Gay males. That's who runs the left. That's who runs the entire trans movement. That's who cut out all the feminists and stole all that's why the Women's March is full of gays. The homosexual men, who are some of the most driven in the world, they have really taken over the feminist movement. And they did it by saying, we're with you. We love you. And then they just invaded by making their own, cause dominate everything. I don't think anybody thinks about, are there feminist marches anymore that aren't just a bunch of gay dudes?
I don't know.
Well, they're usually all the issues, right? A lot of the marches
they're
have
all
are
lumped
all
in
the
together.
issues.
Yep.
They're all lumped in together. So, yeah, that's a good point.
And sometimes we feed into this. Like, I'll pick on Texas Women's College. So Texas Women's College, which is a respectable institution, has
TWU.
TWU. Their billboards, which I clearly noticed, but it'll have like a girl on there, and it just says breaking barriers. So a woman graduates from a woman's college, and she's just broken through. I mean, if she was like,
Maybe she graduated and then she broke through the corporate barrier because she went to.
she's a student, you can tell, breaking barriers. And I hate to be that guy, but I'm like, this isn't 1935. My doctor's a woman.
Is that the best you've got these days?
Like women have made it. Like the like women not being able to make it.
We're doing well.
We're doing well. We could always do better, as the phrase goes. But I'm like, it's not even a black girl. Like, it's not even like, you're not even doing the minority thing. You're just like, it's a white girl, and she's got her backpack that says Breaking Barriers, Texas Women's College. Now, if it were like a dude who graduated there, he broke barriers.
Exactly.
He's like started a football team. He's like captain of the football team and president.
in the dorm.
He's president of student council. I took out all the women, dated half of them, and I took them out of student government. Breaking barriers.
Impregnated them too.
I know. It's stuff like that that's like, because I notice ads and do billboards.
Yes.
So I'm always looking at ads, and I'm like, you just got to give me something more than that.
Yes.
And I like show the ladies speaking at the GE conference or whatever, like to, and the men are sitting there watching her. Like, that's like, yeah, I can fist, but you're a girl and you go to a women's college. You are in the safest, most coddled environment ever, anyways. Please write in. Podcast at 40daysforlife.com. It's just, we've gotten so stuck on all this. And that's why you brought up the feminists. And I'm like, I think the feminists have to have a meeting and go, hey,
what are we doing?
The gays are adopting, babies that are grown in women. Where do we stand? And they're like, let's break for lunch. I mean, I don't even think they thought that this would come here, but this is definitely the result of the sexual revolution, for sure. So we will have more on this, and we will have more on our guy, Redneck Mexican, because he's against surrogacy. He doesn't want to grow any babies. He wants his own Redneck Mexican baby. That I can tell you. So please write in your feedback, good, bad, or ugly. Please rate, review, and share this podcast. And again, we will put on the show page the Surrogacy podcast, where we break down a lot of the arguments for and against in a much more sophisticated way than we did on this one. So thank you. God bless you. And we will see you next time.